The impacts of COVID-19 have been detrimental, but businesses are taking steps to hopefully return to normal. Homecoming being postponed allows students even more time to perfect their mums and garters. The history and tradition of homecoming mums later in the show. We saw most companies suffer through the pandemic, but one was actually able to flourish.
We got a lot of support in the sports industry, especially right now when hygiene is a premium.
And it just so happens to have been created by a former NFL running back.
Live from Studio 301 at Prosper High School, this is Eagle Nation News.
Good morning, Eagle Nation, and thank you for joining us. Today is Friday, October 9th. I'm Ridge Daniel.
And from 6 feet away, I'm Zach Manning.
In a recent attempt to avoid becoming a tool of manipulation, Facebook has announced that it is banning all political ads on the night of the election in order to reduce confusion among voters. This ad halt may come as a surprise to candidates in their campaigns because many rely on Facebook as a main platform for advertising.
The FBI broke up a plan to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmire, and investigators arrested 13 men who were a part of this plot. These 13 men were charged with, quote, providing material support for terrorist acts and carrying or possessing a firearm during the commission of a felony, according to the state prosecutors.
The one and only vice presidential debate between Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence took place Wednesday night. More intensive social distancing regulations were in place than the previous presidential debate, as both candidates had to speak from behind 2 sheets of plexiglass. Unlike the presidential debate, the last question posed to both candidates was written by an 8th grader from Springville, Utah.
COVID-19 has posed detrimental effects on our planet, from more than 1 million deaths to businesses just barely keeping their heads above water. While the age of COVID seems far from over, some things are slowly beginning to return to normal.
With the change of the seasons came the change of American lives. In March of 2020, restaurants, gyms, and every business in between were forced to close due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was really unexpected. We started to do a lot of curbside.
Once we realized we needed to do the right thing and help stop the spread and do our part in the community, it was hard, but thankfully everyone understood. We knew we got to do what everybody else is going to do and go online.
As months have passed and scientists have revealed more information about the virus, businesses now have the opportunity to reopen.
It was a little slow at first. People were a little scared to come in, but eventually it got back to normal.
Things got a little bit easier, a little bit calmer. We, of course, still implemented our cleaning procedures, our social distancing procedures. That way we kept everyone safe, but we just kind of went back to our normal ways.
Our world must return to normal, a newer, safer normal. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Julia Bizaya.
COVID-19 has brought many changes to PHS, but one thing that hasn't changed is Prosper's sports domination. Grace Esquivel gives an update on both local and national sports.
Thanks, Ridge. This week had a lot of action, including the start of the NBA Finals. Lakers are up 3-1 on the Heat, with LeBron James once again showing his impressive play on both offense and defense. But Miami rookie Tyler Hero is proving himself as a rising star in the league with an outstanding performance every single night, especially from behind the arc. Speaking of offense, the Cowboys had a great one, producing more than 500 yards on Sunday, but their defense was non-apparent, allowing just over 100 offensive yards before contact. More on football, our Eagles didn't disappoint, taking the win against ULS Trinity, edging over the Trojans with a 1-touchdown margin, putting us at 2-0 on the season. However, as a result of COVID-19, the next 2 football games are canceled. Continuing on with Prosper Sports, cross country dominated the course its last meet Saturday. The boys took 3rd place with nail-biting finishes, just 5 points behind the deciding factor for first through 3rd teams. Dawson Savoda led the way for Prosper boys, finishing 2nd with a time of 16 minutes, 21 seconds. Jack Johnson crossed the finish line just behind him in 3rd, and Diego Donald placed 7th. The girls also got a podium team finish, notching 2nd overall. Aubrey O'Connor claimed the 1st place at the meet with a time of 18 minutes, 26 seconds. This is Aubrey's 3rd year leading the team and writing her name in the history for Prosper High School, last year winning the UIL State Championship.
Prosper cross-country runner Aubrey O'Connell has impressed the students, teachers, and coaches at Prosper, last year winning a state championship and having multiple first-place times.
This year we have a really good team dynamic, I think. Both our teams are really close together, so it just makes practice more fun. We have practice every day and then sometimes twice a week. It just helps a lot with the smaller things and getting better at the smaller things.
While there's been a process to be the best for Aubrey, the coaches have made practice a priority, training before and after school to get faster times.
We have workouts Mondays, usually Wednesdays, or Thursdays, and then the other days are just like normal runs where you keep a steady pace.
Aubrey has proven herself to be one of the best in the state. With that success must come an outstanding work ethic.
It's hard to get on to somebody who does something right all of the time, and that's what her work ethic is. She is impeccable with it. You know that she's going to get it done. She's a person that's going to do whatever it is just so she can get ahead.
Throughout the practice, I noticed a lot of chemistry between the athletes, sharing laughs and telling stories.
They do all like each other, and that's a good thing, but also a lot of times you're like, okay guys, let's work, because they like to communicate all the time and hang out together, and that's great. That's what makes a great team chemistry. Like, it's not just a boys team and a girls team. It's like they're both together connecting, and it's great to see as a coach.
Aubrey is continuing to build upon her success from last year, sometimes even practicing twice a day in her quest to defend the state championship title. I'm Ken De La Garza, reporting with ENN.
O'Connell will continue her quest at the team's next meet on October 17th. Coming up next, although COVID has caused greater stress for many students, the PHS Hope Squad is doing its part to help you through this time. Stay tuned.
Many students have been feeling the weight of COVID-19. Allison Wood has information on how the PHS Hope Squad is looking out for at-risk students during these difficult times.
Last year, Prosper saw the implementation of the internationally recognized Hope Squad. Hope Squad has almost 27,000 members and is made up of students who receive training to watch and listen for at-risk peers.
I think some of the most important things are warning signs, whether they're verbal or non-verbal warning signs, to see that, because a lot of times we miss that. Also, how to question correctly and how to persuade and how to refer the right way.
Hope Squad advisors must educate members for at least 30 to 50 minutes monthly. The curriculum allows students to learn how to communicate and watch out for signs of peers who might need help or encouragement.
You learn about how mental diseases like depression and things like that you can actually see inside the brain. It's definitely influenced my career and me as a person. It's been very interesting to me learning about things.
Students can find the PHS Hope Squad homepage by accessing the Student tab on the school website and clicking Hope Squad. There, they can find resources to improving their mental and physical health, as well as crisis lines. Hope Squad is made up of students from all groups. The selections are based on the votes students participate in at the end of each school year. Students and staff can also reach out to Coach Cooper for more details on Hope Squad. I'm Allison Wood, reporting for ENN.
Hope Squad has been a great addition to the PHS campus. On another lighthearted note, Will Carlisle lets us know about the return of the beloved comedy show Saturday Night Live.
Last weekend, the popular sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live returned to screens with its 46th season with a live audience for the first time since COVID-19 started spreading in the U.S. Chris Rock was the host, with Megan Thee Stallion as this episode's musical guest. This was reportedly the #1 most-watched season debut for the show in 4 years, with 7.7 million people tuning in versus last year's season debut at 6.18 million people. The show has notoriously done well leading up to presidential elections due to the satirical way candidates are portrayed. Now back to Zach with more on homecoming mums.
Students wearing massive homecoming mums is one of the most famous high school Texas traditions. Madeline Wentz has an exclusive on how the traditions began and where you can buy yours for this year.
Mums have become a Texas homecoming tradition. Elaborately adorned in ribbons, bells, and teddy bears, they are gifted to homecoming dates to be worn during the school day and football game. But when and why did this tradition begin?
So the mum tradition began around in the 30s and 40s. They really started as something that a date would give to their date. It truly just started off as just a single mum flower.
Mums range in size and shape. Some have up to 3 large flowers. Some are shaped like capes, and others are even in the shape of Texas.
A mum is made in layers. So generally what people will start off with is how many flowers do you want to put in it? And then you add in your loops and your points. And it's a lot of hot glue and staples.
You can order your PHS Homecoming Mum or Garter from the Mum Shop at West Parker Road in Plano or at themumshop.com.
When you see someone wearing one of these big monster mums, just ask them to take you on a tour of it, because everything that is on this mum is going to represent something about that person.
I'm Madeline Wentz reporting for ENN.
With homecoming being postponed due to COVID-19, there's some more time to order mums and garters. COVID has made for a crazy year for all of us, and first-year teachers know a lot about crazy. Myth or Comma sits down with a first-year teacher here at PHS.
Thank you, Ridge. I'm your host, Myth or Comma, and with me today I have Miss Marriott. Thank you for joining me, Miss Marriott.
Thank you, Mithra.
So tell me, what was it like graduating through the chaos of COVID-19?
So in the middle of my student teaching was whenever all of that hit. So after spring break, we didn't go back to school, of course. And I just helped my teacher out online. We made online assignments and stuff, and I was super lucky because I was still able to get my degree and get my certification to teach art. So it was still ended up being awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit hectic, but it was great.
I'm really glad you got through that because now you're here. How is it teaching at two separate schools at once, especially during COVID-19?
It requires a lot of organization and knowing which school I'm at, of course, and my students and everything. It's great though, and I'm super lucky to be at both schools because I get to experience all kinds of students. The teachers are all amazing at both campuses. It's great.
That's good. What is the largest difficulty you find yourself facing as a first-year teacher?
Definitely time management. I feel like I look up and all of a sudden an hour and a half has gone by and my class is over. So and juggling online and in person is a whole nother thing in itself. So just making sure that like I've got my time set out, I can talk to all my students and everything. But I'm working on it and it's going well. It's just a big thing to tackle.
So based on your experience this year, what is something you would change about your future teaching?
I would just take the experience and the knowledge that I have learned as I go through every single day and just know that anything can happen and to be flexible and just have a good attitude about it. And my number one reason is to be here for the students. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Well, most businesses are just starting to recover from the pandemic. One local business owner explains how his product boomed during the COVID-19 virus. Emily Baldwin highlights his success.
Justin Forsett, a former NFL running back, started his own business that went from being
One of the worst pitches in Shark Tank history.
to being a business that surged when others fell. His product, Hustle Clean, is considered a hygiene product which COVID-19 has had a major impact on.
There's been a big push for hygiene products, and we're in the hygiene space, personal care products, so we've seen crazy growth throughout this time. We're having our best year to date, but on the negative side, it has really put a strain on our supply chain.
COVID-19 has driven Hustle Clean out of stock with the help of media outlets such as Good Morning America, Forbes, and Shark Tank.
The media outlets that have covered our business all have increased business. We were in stock, and we did Good Morning America and a couple weeks ago, and we ended up being on a 28-day back order. So definitely added benefit for us that not a lot of brands get to have.
Another benefit that not many businesses have gotten to experience during COVID-19 is the increase in sales and support from the sports industry.
We got a lot of support in the sports industry, especially right now when hygiene is a premium. We send product out to teams like the Baltimore Ravens, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Seahawks. We send out product to the bubble down for the NBA for like LeBron James and the rest of the playoff teams down there. So definitely sports has played a major impact and had a huge influence on how we've been growing and being able to get brand exposure.
For Eagle Nation News, I'm Emily Baldwin. Prosper.
That's all for today, Eagle Nation. I'm Zach Manning.
And I'm Ridge Daniel. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.